deal.
And then you came out here and you did Fresh and Fit.
Yeah, I did Fresh and Fit, got cancelled.
You got canceled
I got cancelled for going on Fresh and Fit.
because of anything in particular that you said, or just because you associated with them?
So I booked my trip to appear on Fresh and Fit in August,
Right.
and the trip didn't take place until December. And so I fly out to Miami. I get off the plane. I turn on my phone, and the first thing I see on Instagram is the Joe Budden clip canceling them.
Right.
For when
And you
they
just happened to be there at the exact moment. I remember this. Yeah.
I was the first guest after them being cancelled for saying they don't date black women. And
Right.
I caught a lot of flack. And it was kind of hella people were like, yo, don't go on, don't appear on the show. And I was like, I've flown all the way out here. I'm appearing on the show.
Right.
It's happening.
And also, okay, there's an assumption that you have to basically like agree with every part of every person's life in order to go on their show. And I think I've said no to some media appearances that I kind of wish in retrospect that I had said yes to. Like when I saw Destiny going on Fresh and Fit, and I know that he kind of like fundamentally disagrees with them on a lot of shit, probably more than you or I even, because he's probably like way more progressive. And I respect that he was able to go into a place where he was able to find common ground, and then he was also able to sort of pick at the things that he disagrees with them on, and perhaps that's how you're going to influence an audience, is not by just completely exiling yourself and saying I'm never going to fuck with anybody because they maybe said something controversial. Like, even if you thought that them saying that they don't want to date black women was the most abhorrent thing you had ever heard in your life, why would you not still want to use that platform to maybe have a conversation about how you feel about that if it's so important to you, or just you could have a conversation outside of that one controversial opinion, right?
Yeah, I mean, my whole thing was just like, I want my audience to see me on Fresh and Fit surrounded by the thotties because it will be hilarious.
How do you like that vibe?
I mean, when I was actually in it, it was extremely uncomfortable.
Was it uncomfortable?
I mean, I'm just like a fish out of water. I'm not used to the Miami thoughts. Obviously,
Yeah.
I've watched my fair share of Fresh and Fit.
Right.
But like, you know what I'm saying? That's not my... that's not, I don't know, it's just not my space. But I feel like that's where it became a good piece of content because you wouldn't expect it. And
Right.
I even said to them at the time, it's like, yo, I don't disagree with everything you say. There's a lot I disagree with, but like, I'm just trying to be here in the mix of what everyone's doing. This is media.
I guess like that's one thing that I can say different from a lot of people who've been on that show. Because even when I heard Destiny talk about it, his response was like kind of like, it's unbelievable how retarded these women in Miami are, As
Well,
an extremely intelligent person, he walks away with that. For me, I was not taken aback by the women at all, because in the adult industry, I mean, this is not to take anything away from the porn star girls, but I met a lot of dumb fucking chicks. Maybe I haven't engaged in a conversation of that length with a lot of them, but I personally am very familiar with what the average, and maybe not even average, maybe below average chick is capable of intellectually. And it's not like guys are that much better.
well, I
Or,
mean,
or better at all, actually, even.
it's like, I'm from a small town in England, right? So the types of things that the women in my area, or like the women I dealt with coming up, would say or believe is just a complete different planet to what the Fresh and Fit girls are on. I mean, I remember when I first started getting into the show, watching Myron argue with these chicks, and they're like, I want a guy that makes 7 figures a year, standard. And you're just like, you just can't believe what's coming out of their mouths.
Right.
And like, for me, the thing I always thought, the appeal I felt for Fresh and Fit that I feel like people never appreciated is it's like, I'm not into the whole kind of red pill nonsense.
Right.
I felt like it was just like becoming the hip hop Jerry Springer show. You know what I'm saying? They were having fist fights. Myron was throwing girls out. People were pulling straps out.
Yeah.
It was like, I looked at it as much more of an entertainment thing than like, yo, I'm going to learn how to deal with women from watching this show.
Right.
But like, I think obviously they're very hot on that male self-improvement vibe, which is the sort of the area of YouTube that is at the moment catching the most flack.
Maybe, but also the area that's maybe experiencing the most growth, because I think that when you look at the rise of Fresh and Fit and Andrew Tate and Sneeko and even people like Liver King who are kind of apolitical, it's like there's clearly something that these fucking young dudes out there are looking for that's not really being presented to them, because the mainstream media is trying to convince them that they need to watch homosexual romantic comedies and whatnot. It's just like there's a lot of dudes out there that aren't really seeing a lot that speaks to their desire to understand their own masculinity. So as a result, they're sort of forced into these red pill communities one way or another. And I don't know. I can't blame dudes, because when I think about myself, like if I was 19 or 20 right now at this exact moment in time, I'm sure that Andrew Tate would seem a lot more interesting to me than, and I have nothing against him But I never heard anything really that he was saying that I thought was all that revolutionary. You know?
Well, this is the thing that